I've always loved the idea of solitude. There's something about being deep in the woods, away from the noise of the world, that feels peaceful. At least that's what I used to think. This story isn't about peaceful solitude. It's about the moment I realized I wasn't alone. It was supposed to be a weekend of self-reflection, a time to disconnect, to reset. I had hiked about 6 miles into the forest, far from any marked trails. Just me, my tent, and the wilderness. The clearing I found was perfect, secluded, surrounded by towering pines with just enough space for a small fire pit. I set up camp, relishing the quiet. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I sat by the fire, watching the embers flicker against the night. The rhythmic sounds of the forest, chirping insects, rustling leaves, the occasional crack of a twig, felt comforting. But then, something changed. It started with a feeling. You know, that instinctual sense that someone is watching you? That was the first red flag. I ignored it at first, chalking it up to my own paranoia. I told myself it was nothing, just my mind playing tricks in the darkness. Then I heard it, the snap. Not like the small sounds of critters scurrying in the underbrush. This was deliberate, heavy, close. I held my breath, my ears straining. The fire crackled, but beyond it, silence. An unnatural silence. Even the insects seemed to have stopped. I swept my flashlight toward the tree line. Nothing. Just trees and shadows. But something felt wrong. The darkness between the trees felt thicker, as if it was pressing in. I tried to brush it off, but my nerves were shot. I retreated into my tent, sealing it shut as if that thin layer of nylon could protect me from whatever was out there. I laid down, eyes open, listening. Every sound became amplified in the silence. A branch shifting, the wind moving through the leaves, a distant owl, and then a whisper. It was faint, almost indistinguishable from the wind, but it was there. I bolted upright, heart pounding. The whispering grew louder. Multiple voices, muttering, chanting. I couldn't make out the words, but they were close, right outside my tent. A slow, deliberate scratching started along the fabric of the tent. My stomach clenched. My fingers dug into the sleeping bag. I wanted to run. But where? Into the pitch-black woods? Towards something I couldn't see? I was trapped. My breath came in shallow gasps as the scratching moved, circling my tent. Then, silence. I sat frozen for what felt like hours. Eventually, exhaustion took over. Somehow, I must have blacked out. Sunlight. Golden light filtering through the tent fabric. For a moment, I convinced myself it had been a dream. Until I unzipped the tent. The fire was out. My gear had been moved. And surrounding my campsite, footprints. Dozens of them. And they weren't mine. They led from the tree line, circled my tent, and then vanished. As if whoever, whatever, had been there had simply disappeared. I didn't stay to find out more. I packed up in record time, my heart still racing. As I hiked back to civilization, I felt it again. That same heavy, watching presence. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I just walked. And the whole time, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, was still following me. I never found out what was out there that night. Maybe it was just some local messing with me. Maybe it was something worse. All I know is I haven't been camping since. And if you ever find yourself alone in the woods, be sure you actually are. Because sometimes you're not.